Right. See the evergreen tree here, one of 140 or so memorial trees. This one dedicated to Gold Star mothers who have lost a son or daughter in service to the United States. Passenger side, tall, light gray marker with a cross on top. 4-star General Daniel Chappie James, the first African American 4-star general. He was airman, served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and was a Tuskegee and they were in Tuskegee Airmen. In section 2 on the passenger side, we can find 2 of our 5-star admirals. The very first, William Leahy, as well as William Bull Halsey. Aboard his ship, the Japanese surrendered in September of 1945, in effect ending World War II. Also in section 2, you can find the actors, very popular in the 40s and 50s, often a leading lady for John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara. She's buried here with her husband, Air Force General Charles Blair. On the driver's side, we just passed Chaplain's Hill. There are 4 memorials there to chaplains of all faiths who served in all the major conflicts in the last 2 centuries. Across the field, driver's side, in section 7, you could find the gravesite of our 5-star General George C. Marshall, Chief of Staff during World War II, later became Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense. He was the principal author of the Marshall Plan for the restoration of Europe after World War II. For those efforts, he earned the Nobel Peace Prize, the only Nobel laureate here at the cemetery. Passenger side, buried over there, Joe Louis, heavyweight boxing champion, amongst many Medal of Honor recipients as well. I'll go, gentlemen, please remove hats. We'll go silent for the on the passenger side. Section 6 on the driver's side, we can find the final resting place of General John Lejeune, 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps. He is often called the Marine's Marine. Camp Virginia, North Carolina, of course, named for General John Lejeune. On the passenger side, that is our nurses section. There's a memorial to nurses there in the nurses section. None of our sections are exclusively for one branch for one period of time. But mostly nurses in this section. There are some, of course, nurses as well. On the passenger side, the note the grave markers are closer together than in most places. That's because no one's buried beneath them. They are called cenotaphs, Greek word for open tomb, meaning there's no one buried beneath them. They are memorials to those who may have been lost at sea, remains never recovered, maybe cremated, but worthy of note here at our most hallowed ground. Passenger side, the memorial here to the USS crew of the USS Serpent, who perished off the coast of Guadalcanal during World War II. The 250 deaths that day, the greatest single disaster in U.S. Coast Guard history. And in section 2, passenger side, you'll see a number of larger grave markers, wider, with several names on them because they are group burial markers. Those who served together, died together, have been laid to rest here together. Sort of section 34 here. Also in section 34, you can find the father of the Air Force, the only 5-star general in both the Army and the Air Force, Henry Hap Arnold. Also, just a private, Corporal Frank Buckles died just 10 years ago. Our longest surviving World War I veteran. He was just 110 years old when he died. And up the hill on the passenger side, there will be a kind of a scrawny looking evergreen tree. On each side of that tree, a standard grave marker, one for General Blackjack Pershing, the highest ranking officer in the history of the United States. Bestowed upon him at the end of World War I the title General of the Armies, plural. He was put in command of all four of our branches of the U.S. military at that time. Two of his grandsons, both of his grandsons are buried on the other side of the tree. They both served in Vietnam. One lost his life there. Now our next stop will be, this is our stop at the Pershing gravesite. Our next stop will be at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
517 Pershing, code 11.
Up the hill on the driver's side, you can find the gravesite of Dr. Walter Reed, Army Medical Center here in Washington, now in Bethesda, Maryland, is named after him. He discovered the cause for yellow fever while working with crews at the Panama Canal at the turn of the 20th century. He was able to attribute it to a mosquito. The Unknown Soldier, there are actually 4 tombs there. The first one just celebrated the 100th anniversary, the tomb of the unknown World War I soldier, buried here in 1921. In 1958, 2 more unknown soldiers were buried in front of that tomb. One from World War II, one from the Korean War. Later, an unknown Vietnam was buried there as well. But eventually the identity of Air Force Lieutenant Michael Blasey was discovered. He was reinterred in his home state, Missouri, at Jefferson Barracks Cemetery. Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is guarded 24 hours a day, every day of the year, has been for over 80 years, by the elite 3rd Infantry Regiment of the U.S. Army, also known as the Old Guard. The Old Guard is an infantry unit that does train and serve as infantry, as well as being on call for the President of the United States. On the passenger side, you can find the gravesite of Captain Charles Burlingame. He was the pilot of American Airlines Flight 77, crashed into the Pentagon that terrible day, September 11, 2001. He was a retired U.S. Naval aviator. Further up the hill, you can find the gravesite of John Glenn, fighter pilot, original Mercury 7 astronaut, and U.S. Senator. Driver's side, that's the Spanish-American War Memorial. A large cannon were American, the small Latina cannons were the Spanish. This is our stop for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and the changing of the guard. The time is now 9:43. Next change of the guard probably at 10 o'clock. Now, very important, we're not being picked up here. We're being picked up on the other side there. There's a bench. There should be a host there as well. That's where you'll be picked up. We have vehicles coming along in 30 minutes, and again in